Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the Hockey Think Tank community, a place for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. It's just going to be the talent, Jeffrey Jehu, Lavecchio, and I, and we are going to talk about environmental factors that are crucial for players to develop. And this came about a really good buddy of mine, Brian Kane. He's been on the podcast a lot of times. Months ago, he asked me this question: what are 4 to 6 environmental factors crucial for players to develop? Kaner is one of the most knowledgeable hockey guys in the game. He is on the skill development staff, one of the head skill guys for the Chicago Blackhawks right now, runs Prodigy Hockey as well. And so I went through the answers that I gave him for this. And so I'm really excited to dive into this with y'all here today. But first, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, Jeffrey Jehu, Lavecchio. What's up today, my man?
Man, the first podcast in my new office. Exciting, yes. So this is super fun for me. Let's hope the internet is good enough. But this is my second week in the new gym in the headquarters here, and it's been unbelievable. Every day, more and more guys come home from juniors and college and pro, and just to hear them all say, "Oh my God, I'm gonna live here all summer. I'm never leaving. I'm gonna be here all day, every day." For me, it's like exactly why I built this place. I was a rink rat, a gym rat. Like, all I did was want to get better when I played. So, like, I tried to build the place that I would have wanted, when I was in juniors and college and pro, and just like somewhere I could go work on a whole bunch of different things and recover and eat and just do everything all in one spot. Skate, we got everything here. Similar to, my first location, but this one's obviously like that one on steroids. So it's really cool, and it's really cool to be on this podcast this morning in an actual office, bro. I started training athletes 17 years ago. This is my first actual office. That's not at my house. So for me, this is a really cool morning.
I could tell. Got a little extra pep in your step today.
Yeah, man, excited. Well, I also got this. I'll give a little plug to my guy, Charlie Blue Coffee. One of my pro guys started a coffee company last year, because in my pro group, we're always talking about entrepreneurship and life after the game and preparing yourself. Whether I'm talking with my NHL guys, my East Coast League guys, AHL, European pro, it doesn't matter. Just like be smart and do things to set yourself up after hockey and network and learn about business and all these different things. And so one of my guys, after our talks last year, he started his own coffee company called Charlie Blue Coffee. TJ Friedman, he won national championship at Quinnipiac, played in the Coast the last 2 years, unbelievable guy. And so now my gym, we only make and sell Charlie Blue Coffee in my gym for him. And 15% of all proceeds go to dog shelters. Guy loves dogs. Charlie is his dog. His face is on the coffee bags. So it's really cool. So I'm buzzing off that too.
That's awesome, man. I love how you're like talking about life after hockey with your guys and like things outside of hockey too. It's so important. How many people that you know who retired and then hit a lot of tough times?
A lot of tough times, a lot of adversity, a lot of depression, you know, and it's not being soft. It's like, especially the longer you play, the harder it is a little bit, even if you made a ton of money, because it's like, well, now what? Like we wrap our identity up in, I'm so-and-so the hockey player. I'm Jeff Lavecchio. I'm a hockey player. I'm Topher Scott. I'm a hockey player. And then I'm a hockey coach. And then it's like, well, what am I now that I'm not doing either of those? And so many guys struggle, might turn to the bottle, like things like that. So something that I do with all my guys, we're constantly in the gym. And this is with the young kids too, just talking about how this is going to make you successful in life after hockey. But then with the older guys constantly talking about, what are you interested in? Go find a way to network and start learning from people in the summers when all you do is work out in the morning and then you're done for the day. Well, go put in 1 hour, 2 or 3 days a week with somebody that can teach you something about one of your passions in life. I don't care if that's business, music, finances, the gym, whatever you're in, coffee, whatever you're interested in. Go start learning and working on that, because also if you're a pro hockey player, you got a great life. You work a couple hours a day on non-game days. You have so much time to start doing other things. And like James Sixsmith, who we had on the podcast a few months ago, his company is crushing it. I remember playing against him in Norway and him starting to do day trading and things like that. And now he's got this company worth a lot of dough, and he's absolutely crushing it because he started it during his pro career. So, it's I think it's just necessary. And I think it also, as we talked about, helps you get your head off the game for a few hours a day, which I think helps you in the long run too.
Dude, you know who's doing an unreal job of like life after hockey right now?
Who?
Chris Pronger. He is absolutely killing it. And you know what's really cool? Like, he has a reputation, he has some status from his playing career, and he's using that right now. Like, how, with the messages that he's sending on social media and what he's doing now, I mean, he's just making people better. It's really, really cool to see. And we had him on the podcast probably a year ago now. It was kind of before he became a media darling, let's call it. Like, now he's on ESPN, doing the NHL playoffs, and he's all over social media. And it's funny because it's one thing that's like, it's really hard for a lot of especially hockey players to do, and that's to be public, and that's to be kind of front facing, because in our sport, everything about just the team and don't be above the team, don't show off. Like, that's what our sport like epitomizes. But I think especially in life after hockey, you see a guy like Pronger, like all he's doing, and this is something that I've struggled with before too, because like, you want to be humble, and you don't want to quote unquote brag or anything like that, or be so front facing. But if you're providing value to people and you're helping people and you're like doing things that are going to add value to their lives, that's a really, really good thing. And that's what I think, like, he's talking so much about the journey and mental toughness and just team and all that. Like, it's really, really cool. And so he's killing it, right? Like, he's absolutely killing it. And it's really cool to see where he is now, based upon like a year ago when we had him on, when he was just kind of starting to get into that stuff. Really cool.
Really cool. Really cool. And he puts himself out there, man. He puts himself out there relentlessly. I remember before he came on the podcast, like I had breakfast with him to meet with him, talking about social media and ways to maximize that and some ideas and just things like that. And it was so cool to, like, so many guys are like, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And they just like shoot things down. And it's like, man, you're thinking small picture, like small potatoes. Like, you, just like in hockey, you have to put yourself out there. You can't make a team unless you go to the tryout. You put yourself out there, and you might fail. You might fall on your face. You might not make it, but also you might make it, and just really cool to be around doers, and a lot of higher level athletes are doers. They just got to learn how to do in a different arena, which can be tough,
That voodoo that you do. Totally, man. Ready for a transition? You know who else is a doer? Brian Kane, who is the inspiration to this podcast episode here today. And it's really funny. I talked to Nari yesterday at length, and we were talking about kind of what we're going to talk about on this podcast here. That's environment, and how environment's everything. Like, people and environment are everything. And it's funny. I just put a blog out there about all the American-born players that made the NHL a couple years ago, and kind of detailing their journeys and everything. And like, again, environment is everything. Like, there's so many different paths to where you want to go, depending on where you live, depending on like so many different factors. But at the end of the day, if you could put kids in the right environment and you have the right people that are mentoring and leading them, it doesn't matter where you live, what model, your youth hockey organization is, what league you play. Like, environment is everything, and people are everything. And so, in doing this podcast episode here today, hopefully we can provide some really tangible things that you could potentially do and provide some perspective on the types of environments that you can put your kids in where they're going to succeed on the ice, off the ice. I think both are applicable. Whether it's, again, like doing actual skill stuff on the ice, whether it's a teacher in a classroom, like all of these things I think are incredibly important. Even us as parents, probably there's some valid points in there for that too. So I really love this conversation that we had, and I want to thank Kaner for reaching out. And that's one of the other things, like all the great people that I know, one of the biggest consistencies with all of them is just curiosity. Like they're always looking to get better. They're always looking to find new ways. And Kaner, every once in a while, he'll send a text out there just with the question of, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I know he sends it to other people, that he knows that he has respect for in the game. And I don't know. I think that's a really cool thing. Curious people are awesome. Curious people tend to get better.
It shows too that you're not complacent. Like you can't. Oh man, I had a great year. I'm just gonna chill. Like curiosity is like, well, where can I get a little bit better? Where can I get a little bit more efficient? Where can I get a little bit more effective in every area? And people who are constantly doing that are able to grow consistently, and that's how you get closer and closer to your goals, is by constant growth. And you can't constantly grow if you're not constantly thinking, well, how can I learn from that guy and this guy and that guy and things like that.
Totes my goats, man. Totes my goats. All right. Well, so let's get over to this conversation. But before we do get over there, we do have some people to thank. First, we want to thank our title sponsors, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills. They got whiteboard explanations from high-level hockey people. They have the ability to go into the site, drop your drills, send them out to your players, send them out to your parents, create drill libraries where you can have this for yourself or with every coach in your organization as an organization, because we have partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach in your organization. Unbelievable value add. Go to icehockeysystems.com today and get it. Jeffrey, go.
I want to say thank you to Train Heroic. You guys know Train Heroic is where I do all of my online training, and it's how I'm able to deliver such quality training at an unbelievably low price. Trained NCAA D1 teams using Train Heroic, D3 teams, USHL, NOL teams, my off-season training program, complete program. You don't have to do anything else off the ice. Literally 7 days a week for the entire offseason is out right now. You can go to training.gmbm.com and check it out, read about it. Hilariously cheap. My whole goal is to help as many hockey players as possible with that. Train Heroic makes that possible. So thank you to Train Heroic.
Boom. Also want to thank Helios Hockey, one of the best hockey development products out there on the market. It is a sensor that you put into your kid's shoulder pads, and you get real-time data, real-time feedback on your play. But specifically, we're talking about what the kids love in a hustle score. So every time a kid moves on the ice, this thing lights up, and it tracks a little bit of a hustle score, which is really cool. Also, incredible for development for your stride length, stride mechanics, skating, the most important skill in hockey today. If you want to play hockey at the highest levels, the better skater you are, the better position you're putting yourself in to be able to do that. So awesome feedback on that. And then the game changer is your shifts. This thing, it links up with whatever video you're using, and it can even be live barn, but your iPad, your iPhone, regular camera, whatever it may be, it links up with that, and you get your shifts or your reps in practice cut up for you directly when you're done with whatever session that you have. No more fast forward button and rewind button and pause and play on the VHS like Vex and I had to do way back in the day. If we wanted to cut up our shifts, that's how old we are. Just an unbelievable value add. So go to helioshockey.com today. And if you use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, you will get either a 20% discount on your Pro Annual or Pro 24-month subscription, or you can go to helioshockey.com/teams and you can get a discount for your entire team. We also want to thank Crossbar. Crossbar is an absolute game changer for any youth organization out there. What is it? It is a software solution that helps you absolutely streamline and optimize your operations for your youth hockey club. So it is incredible. It has a really easy to use website and website design, really easy to use registration tools for everything like the full season to even little things like drop-ins or clinics or lessons. There's a club schedule that you can use, a 5-star communication app to communicate with your families, financial, volunteer, facility management, those tools and reporting. So it's basically a one-stop shop, guys. One-stop shop to help operate your club a little bit more efficiently. I know so many different hockey directors that have made the switch from some of the bigger box type software solutions to run your website and organization over to Crossbar, and they have been extremely, extremely happy that they did. So go to crossbar.org today. And lastly, thank you to all of you who continue to listen and support our podcast. One thing we ask in return, if you can, is to interact with our podcast on your podcast app or with us on social media. So any like, any rating that you give, any review that you give, if you follow us or subscribe on your podcast app, that goes a long way to getting into that algorithm, to getting us into some more cars, getting us into some more ears, and helping us to live our mission, which is to make the hockey world a better place and add some perspective for families and kids that need it. So if you can do that, that would be phenomenal. And we think that you guys are going to absolutely love this episode where we talk about how to develop an environment that is really conducive to help developing players to the best of their abilities. And so with that, without further ado, here we go with Jeff Vecchio and myself on creating awesome environments. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a fun episode. Just Vex and I here today, obviously. And we are going to talk about, so I know we talked about this in the intro, but for those that don't listen to the intro, give it a little quick here. So one of my really good buddies in the game, one of the smartest guys I know, he's been on the podcast a couple different times. One of the podcasts that we did with him, one of the most downloaded we've ever done. But Brian Kane, one of the top skills guys with the Chicago Blackhawks right now, also has Prodigy Hockey as well, a great skills development company, hockey development company. And he reached out to me and he asked me a question. It was, what are 4 to 6 environmental factors that are crucial for players to develop? What are 4 to 6 environmental factors that are crucial for players to develop? And so I gave him 7. But I wanted to kind of go through these with you here today. And first of all, I do want to say, like, this is why Kaner's one of the best. I think the best at what they do are innately curious. They're innately curious. And they're always looking for ways to get better, always looking for new perspective, always looking for just a better way of doing things. And so, like, he is very inquisitive, very curious, and a lot of the high-level hockey people that I know are the exact same way. Would you agree?
Yes, totally.
So really, really cool that he reached out with this question. I absolutely love the question. So I have 7 and we'll go through the 7 of them here. And just basically, how do you set up your environment so players can develop to the best of their abilities? How can you set up an environment where the players can bring out the best of their abilities? And so the first one that I said, and I'm just going to kind of read it word for word, and then we'll go from there, is number 1, it starts with the relationship, especially involving the player in the planning of the process of them getting better. Don't just give them a development plan. Work with them to create it together. Talk to them about things outside of hockey. Show them that you care, and they will buy into what you are teaching them. Create an environment that is collaborative in nature, full of curiosity and openness. So that was the first thing that I said. It just literally, it starts with the relationship. It starts with, you don't have a good relationship with the player, you're not going to be able to develop them to the best of their ability. So I'll leave it with you there. Thoughts on number 1?
I think that it's that old adage, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. You know, the more that you pour into getting to know your athlete, the player, the coach, it goes both ways. Honestly, you're just going to, the more that you care, like, you're going to be more invested into helping them develop, helping them win, wanting them to win, all of these, and also like getting to know them. And like when you care and you get to know them and all these things, and you put effort into developing that relationship, you kind of get to know what makes them tick. You know, Topher and I have talked about it all the time. Like, kids nowadays, and you know, probably always, it's not the military anymore. Like, you don't just treat everyone like you're a drill sergeant, because not everyone's going to respond well that way. And that doesn't mean treating kids soft. We talk about this all the time. But if you can find that, oh, this kid really likes when I challenge him. This kid really likes when I lay off him, but I give him, you know, a little bit more softer touches with how I'm coaching him. Like, you're you're going to get more out of them. They're going to develop better, all these things. So that is the ground floor, the basement, the base of the pyramid, I'd say.
Get it?
All of those things. Thank you. I was getting there.
Yeah, man. And I love what you said. Again, like it is, you're right. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. 100%. 100% at the end of the day. And I think that's where the best coaches, every coach says that. Every coach knows that. Every coach believes that they're potentially doing that. But there's very few that like actually go out of their way to show the players that. You know what I mean? Like where there's a perception and then there's a reality. And typically perception is reality. But like you may think, but the only thing that really matters is what that player's taking in and what they know. And so like your actions have to match kind of like what your thoughts are, if that makes
100%.
any sense.
100%. Yes.
And so one of the best ways to do that is at the beginning of the year, involve them in creating their development plan. Involve them in creating their development plan. So it's not you telling them what to do. It's, hey, let's work together here to put a plan in place so you can be the best that you can be. And once you do that, again, it's not as much even about the plan, but it's about the relationship that you have with that kid. And the closer you get, and the more that they believe that you believe in them, the harder that you're going to be able to coach them, the more that you're going to be able to push them, the more you're going to be able to get them outside their comfort zone where they're not going to think, oh, this person's an asshole for doing this. This person cares about me, so I should listen and I should do what they're asking me to do. And involve them in the process, man. Involve them in the process. It's one of the best ways to build that relationship at the end of the day.
I love that so much, and it goes along with what you and I always talk about, like, figuring out your why. And if you're involving them in the process, the first step of that process is most likely going to be, what are your goals? And then having them tell you them. And then you're like, okay, well now if you're involving them in the process, okay, like this is how we're going to get closer to those goals this season. We're going to focus on this and this and this, and I need you to do this and this. I'll help you with that, like right away. And then also, like I'm always saying on this show, it's one of the reasons that I think that I get such good results in the gym is because I know what all my guys' goals are. I know, specific numbers from some of them, like the exact number of points they're saying in their head every day that they want to achieve next year. Or I want to be a top 4D man. Last year I was a healthy scratch. Like me knowing that allows me to help them develop more and be there for them and support them and be on them in the times that they need to, they're not showing up the way that they need to for whatever reason. And because I have that relationship with them, I know these things, I'm able to push certain buttons or be there to help them with something that's hard for them because of the relationship. That is the basement. That is the floor. That is the whatever the hell I said, at the base of the pyramid.
I don't even know what
Some kind of metaphor.
Well, one of the things that you said, and you say it a lot, but I think it just, man, it like holds true so much, is that then you could go to that person at the end of the day when they're not giving it their all, or they are cheating, or they aren't, and it's a time where accountability is really important. Say, hey, like you told me you wanted me to hold you to these standards. You told me that these were your goals. Do you think that what you're doing right now is conducive to achieving or attaining these things at the end of the day? And instead of, you're not working hard right now, or you're not doing what I asked you to do, it's no, like you put it back on that. It's like, this is what you want. My job is to ask you what you want and then help you to hold you accountable to doing that every day, because you can't do it alone. Nobody in the world is self-motivated enough to do it on their own. Even like the most, what people would say, probably self-motivated athletes of all time, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, they both hired a coach, Tim Grover, who has written, multiple best-selling books about training Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. They couldn't do it alone. If those two guys can't do it alone, nobody can. Yeah. Like, I always really love when you talk about that. It's like, hey, like I can just imagine you in the gym with a guy who's not giving it, being like, hey, you want to be a top 4 player on this team. Do you think that your intention of what you're doing right now in these reps is going to get you there?
Is that what a top 4 player shows up like every day?
And how many, and because of the relationship that you built with that kid, how many of those kids look at you and like a screw off coach?
0.
No, 100% of them are like, yeah, you're right. I need to put more into it. And so that's where it also, What's that?
And why is that? Because they know that I have their best intentions and I want them to get whatever that goal is because of the relationship building. That is number one that Toph is talking about.
Yeah. There we go. So, number one, you got to build a relationship. You want to create an environment conducive for player development. It all starts with the relationship that you have with your players. Okay, moving on. Number two. So I'll read this again word for word. Create an environment where vulnerability is welcomed. It starts with the coach. Tell them you're not going to be perfect and don't expect them to be either. If there's something that they don't like or want to challenge you on, tell them you welcome that and that we're in this together. When you make mistakes, own it. It will give them the grace to make mistakes too. Failure and mistakes is a big part of growth. So let's hear it. What do you got?
Love that. I mean, we both played the game a long time. We both played for coaches that we know made mistakes and made a bad decision or had a terrible practice, and some would 100% turn it on the guys, and the guys all knew what was going on. Like, we didn't do that. You made that decision. Like, what? And you kind of lose respect when that happens. But the opposite is true in the opposite, whereas somebody makes a mistake, you're like, oh, you know what? I'll own that. I'll wear that right now. And you hear NHL coaches doing this from time to time, and then you hear after they do that, you see what follows up after, and it's almost always the team goes on a surge.
Rally, yeah.
They're rallying around their leader who's fallen on the sword, and he'll take the brunt of it. He wants to take the pain for everybody else. Spare them. Look at me. It was on me. I made the decision, because people who take accountability are also people who are reflecting and going to adapt and apply. More often than not, you're not taking bullets and taking the accountability and then not coming up with a plan to get better. If you have that in your character, you are most likely reflecting, going, what could we have done better? How can we do it better? You're involving them in the process, like Toph said, and then you're going to adapt, make it better, and move forward together. Two heads are better than one.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, and we've talked about this, but I remember distinct moments where I had a coach that after a really bad game came into the room and was like, hey guys, this one's on me. I didn't have us prepared enough throughout the week, and that's not going to happen again. And it's like the weight of the world is lifted off your shoulders, and you come back to practice on Monday and you want to run through a wall for the guy.
Right.
And then there's the other coaches who it's a lot of finger pointing. It's a lot of finger pointing and blaming, and you're not working hard and this and that. And leaders are accountable. You want accountable players. The best thing that you can do as a leader is be accountable yourself. And so I think that's something that Nar was really good at, getting the opportunity to be working with him in Michigan. There were times where after practice, and you know how practice driven he is, right? His game days are the practices, and he wants the players to get better. After practices, whether it was in front of the team, which happened, or even in the coach's room, hey guys, that one's on me. That wasn't we could do a better job. I just always have a lot of respect for people who look in the mirror. I have a lot of respect for people who take accountability for their actions. And it's really, really easy to be self-absorbed and think that it's always somebody else's fault. But if you want to be great at anything that you do, ownership and accountability is one of the most important character traits that you can have. And just specifically from coaches, this is a lot from coming from experience. You and I both just talked about it. When we have coaches that wear it for the guys and take accountability for their own actions, that is, you want to create buy-in for what you do. It's one of the biggest things that you can do. We talked about the relationship, that's huge.
And Andy Frizella, who owns First Form, started First Form, who's he's got a huge podcast, and I'm a First Form athlete. They're from St. Louis here. He says radical accountability is everything. And Toph and I always talk about owning your development. And my grandma, she used to leave this on notes at our house whenever she'd leave St. Louis on my mirror. She'd always write, if it is to be, it's up to me. And Toph and I talk so many times about how so many players are always pointing fingers instead of pointing thumbs back at yourself and thinking, okay, yeah, this happened in the game, and I made the turnover. A lot of players, they won't think about, well, no, he didn't just make the turnover. I wasn't an outlet for him. I wasn't open for him. So yeah, he turned the puck over, but I wasn't open. I wasn't yelling. I didn't screen to, give him more time as the forechecker's coming at him. That would be radical accountability. No, I could have done more on this play to help my teammate who then turned it over. Whereas players who don't take radical accountability. They're not thinking that way. They're going to be like, yeah, it was all his fault. Then they're not learning, oh, I could have done this better. But that guy who takes radical accountability is like, always, learn, adapt, apply, reflect, learn, adapt, apply, reflect. How can I get better? If you take accountability for everything you do, even when things are not your fault, what could I have done? I could have helped that person not fail. I could have helped my teammate make a better decision if I would have been talking. Those are the guys, when they reflect, are going to get better all the time because they're taking accountability for everything, not trying to push blame away. And if you want to be successful in business or life or relationships, it's the same damn thing. Very quickly, I trained Bob Frederick, Trent Frederick's father, who owns a pretty big roofing company here in St. Louis. When I first retired, I trained him and three of Trent's uncles as well. I called them the Silver Foxes. These, successful, good looking, just great people, just awesome guys, all business owners. And I remember I messed up something with a client once. I don't remember if I didn't show up for a session. I don't remember what it was. And I asked Mr. Frederick, I was like, Mr. Frederick, have you ever messed up in a business deal or with a client or anything? And he's like, doesn't matter how big or small, get on your knees, beg for forgiveness, fix it, whether that costs you money out of your own pocket or not, you fix it, you make it right. Because not only is that person going to trust you and hopefully work with you again, but also if you just are like, it's your fault, you let it go, they're going to negatively spread that word to all of their friends and their friends and their friends. Whereas if you bend over backwards and you fix your mistake and you own it and whatever that is, again, metaphor for hockey, now they're telling a different story to all of their friends and who are looking for a new roof, metaphor, right? So taking radical accountability will make you so much better at everything in life.
Yeah, for sure. that was awesome. That was deep. That was great.
The puppy who lost his way.
No, I was thinking about the Office episode where there was a disgusting watermark that got put on all the paper that went out to different customers. And then Michael Scott brings a couple people in and he's going to apologize in front of the press. And he was like, and now do you accept my apology? And she's like, no. And he's like, wait, what? And then they go back and forth, and he's like, you need to leave. I'm glad I did it for whatever it was. He's taking accountability, but then not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah. So it kind of leads into something that we'll talk about number 3 here.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
So number 3, creating an environment conducive for player development. So I have be prepared, but be flexible. The player has to know that you have a plan and you are putting in the effort, but also that you're not too stubborn to change it if things aren't clicking. So kind of goes to it. Like in this, I think of like a coach in practice. I think of like making adjustments during a game. I think of even like skills coaches who are on the ice, having a plan of attack of what you're going to do to get better that day or to win that game. But if things aren't going well, having the humility to be like, okay, this was the wrong plan. Let's change some things up here and let's, understanding when to stay true to it and then when to kind of like, okay, abort mission, let's figure out a better way. And I especially thinking about it from like a skills coach perspective or in practice, as a coach, this drill's not working. Like, hey, this was the intention of this drill. It's not the right design. I'm not doing it. So, okay, let's make a few different little changes. Maybe we even scrap it, and that's one of the things that I encourage all coaches to do is like, try new things, try new drills, try new concepts in practice, like all these different things. And then if it doesn't work, it's fine. It doesn't work, but take accountability for it. This didn't work. We're trying something new and we'll fix it for the next time or we'll scrap it. Fine. And I think players appreciate that. I think players, you have to have a plan because if you don't have a plan, you're not prepared. They'll see right through you. They're going to think you're lazy and you don't work hard. And that's not good for anybody. But also having the humility that when things aren't going well, wearing that, taking accountability and actually doing something to fix it. I think that's something that, like, I don't know. Again, I go back to, our own experiences. I've had coaches that don't do that. They're so stubborn in their ways and they're so stubborn and it's my way or the highway that they do not give the grace to change on different things. And they kind of point the finger and blame you because their plan isn't going really well instead of, oh, maybe this plan doesn't work. And then there's other coaches who, they wear it and they get curious and they think about ways to fix whatever that issue is and then kind of go from there. So I feel like, again, that's a really big part of this process of creating that environment. And again, at the end of the day, when you make mistakes and you welcome that, like that's how players get better. They get better by trying new things and making mistakes. They get better from pushing themselves outside their comfort zone. And by you modeling that as the leader, it gives them the opportunity and the ability to kind of do that the same way.
Ooh, I like that. Modeling it as the leader, 100%. It's so important. It's so important. I wouldn't go to a fat nutritionist, but it's along those lines, like you've got to model the behavior that you're trying to coach. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to have played in the NHL to coach kids. No, not at all. But like Toph said, show up with a plan. Try new things. Sometimes that new thing might not go as planned or work. And you just wear it. Just, you know what, guys? I'm not liking this drill. Really wanted to work on this. I'm going to go back to the drawing board, make it even better for you guys next week. Let's move on to the next drill.
Yeah, 100%. Have a plan, be prepared. Number one, if it's not working, have the humility to change some things up, wear it. And then again, that gives the permission to the players to do the same thing for sure. Okay. Number 4, competition. Jeffrey, competition breeds excellence. Anytime you can gamify or create a competitive aspect to drills or practices, the intensity and intentionality raises. Competition breeds fun too, which keeps them engaged in the monotony that can be the development process. What do you got for me?
Amen is all I can say to that. I just amen exclamation point times a million. You and I like analogies and metaphors because it helps people understand. If I tell a kid to run as fast as they can, they're going to run really fast. But if I have a rabid pit bull on a chain and I have that pit bull chase that kid, and I say run as fast as you can, they're going to run faster. If I have their buddy there, it's a game. Oh, if the dog bites you, you die. That's not really a fun game. But if it's your buddy chasing after you, you don't want to get tagged so your buddy's telling you you're a slow loser and you're an idiot and, chirping you and stuff. Like, it makes it more fun. Like, any time that you can gamify anything, they're going to enjoy it more. They're going to work harder. They are. And the whole goal of practicing at the youth level and same thing in the gym, training at the youth level, is to get them to come back, because the more reps they get, the better they get. They have to get reps in practice, at shooting, at skating, at sticking, all those things. Same thing in the gym. You got to get reps in. And the more they want to be there, the more they will show up, the more reps they get. It's just, one leads to the next, leads to the next, to the next. So, why not make it fun? And an easiest way to do that is gamify and compete.
Gamify and compete, baby. How much, again, I go back to it, there's so much more intention in any drill you do when there's a game involved.
100%.
When there's
100%.
a game involved. And whenever I get the opportunity to talk to coaches, think about every drill that you have and think about how you can make it a game or have a score at the end.
Yes.
Create a competition.
Yes.
Maybe it's a flow drill, at the beginning of practice. Okay. The team that hits the net the most or the team that misses the net the most is going to lose.
Right.
Something. Create opportunities in the gym or on the ice where there's a race, to start a drill. And the more I do this, the more that you want to start every rep with not just you have the puck on your stick. No, you got to go earn the puck before you can get this rep done. Not in every drill, but just having sort of a competitive aspect to it. And you're so right. Having competition is going to bring the best out in you, but also having competition is going to bring people back with more intention because it's fun. Because 100%. It's fun at the end of the day. And
especially at the younger ages. I can't.
Especially at the younger. But even dude, I coach college hockey. You played pro,
yeah, no, totally. But
it's not just for the young kids,
right, totally
pro level too.
Yes, but for the young kids, I think it's even more important because maybe when we're talking about what's good for hockey as a whole, we want kids playing. We want more kids playing. We want more kids staying in the game longer. If kids hate coming to practice, you're losing players in the game of hockey. You're losing lifelong fans. You're losing all of these things that wind up being a negative feedback loop. We want it to be a positive feedback loop for life, and that starts at the younger ages. So, the militaristic coach for, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, come on, I'm not saying change your personality, but gamify things, make it a competition. You don't have to be soft with them, and they're going to get more out of it.
Yep. Competition brings out the best in people. It can bring out the worst in people, but
100% too.
For the most part, it brings out the best in people. Okay.
Yes,
moving on to number 5, numero cinco here. The environment that you create has to be authentic, especially with the coach. Being the best version of you gives the players the permission to be the best version of themselves. Create an environment that welcomes authenticity, that helps to create identity. When the players are themselves and the environment is fun and positive, it creates a camaraderie within the group that brings out the best in people. So basically, at the end of the day, be yourself. As the leader, as somebody who's creating that environment, the best thing that you can do is be yourself. There's not one right way to coach. There's not one right way to motivate. There are tons of different ways to do it. And the best ones typically are the ones where you're living your authentic self. And when you live your authentic self, again, it gives the players permission to live their authentic selves. And if you want to have a best team, you have to have an atmosphere where everybody's bringing their best version of them to the rink, because you don't win with just one type of player. You don't build a great culture with one type of personality. And so, that environment is modeled again by the leader. And I've made this mistake. I know a lot of other coaches have made this mistake. When you get into a leadership position and you're in charge of enforcing that culture, you try to be somebody that you're not out of bad intention, but just, you think you need to coach in a certain way to get the most out of people. The way you get the most out of people is being the best version of yourself. So, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, players just sniff out fakeness, you know, and the older you get, the quicker they sniff it out. And nobody wants to play for a faker. Nobody wants to be around a faker. Nobody wants to be around that stuff. And when Toph's saying, live your authentic self, and he's talking about earlier in the podcast about like Michael Jordan and Kobe. Those teams needed Dennis Rodman. They needed a rebounder. They needed somebody that got under the other team's skin, to create fouls. They needed every piece. They needed, the white guy shooting threes on the outside. Like they needed all of these different pieces to become the teams that they became. If it was a team full of Jordans, they probably don't win 6 championships. They need the other guys doing the other things that Jordan didn't do, wasn't the best at, didn't want to do, whatever it was. You can't have a team full of Jordans. So, like, allowing your players to be who they are within the confines of the rules of the team and things like that, obviously, it's and you being your authentic self, whatever that means. Man, I'm a goofball. I like making people laugh. I like working really hard and also having fun doing it. I don't want to be stiff. I don't want to wear a suit. I don't want to wear uncomfortable clothes. I just don't want to do these things. That is me. And everybody knows that about me. And it's like you take it or leave it with the things that I bring to the table. If I tried to be somebody I wasn't, the guys would sniff it out in 2 seconds, Yeah,
100%. Absolutely 100%. So be yourself.
That's what I was singing at the beginning when you were
Were
talking.
you? Be yourself. Just Friends. Thank you very much. Great movie. Underrated movie.
And there's hockey in that movie, too.
There is hockey in that.
There's a 2-minute hockey scene.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. Good Canuck. I think he's a BC guy. Western Canadian guy.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay, let's move on to number 6. Numero 6. Here we go. The environment has to be one where resilience is emphasized. You have to push the players outside of their comfort zone and understand the nuance of challenge points during a practice or a session. Growth happens outside the comfort zone, but only with a resilient mindset. What do you got?
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind growth happens outside the comfort zone. Guys, if your player is always comfortable and never failing and never, having a tough time, you're not opening them up to enough opportunities to challenge them to grow. We get better by messing up, learning, adapting, applying, coming back the next time. You try to toe drag, you're the last guy defensively coming up the ice with the puck, and you try a stupid-ass move that shouldn't work, and it doesn't, and the puck's in the back of your net. Hopefully you learn from that, grow, and now you make a smarter, more informed play because of that negative thing that happened to you. Like, you gotta put yourself in positions that you're gonna fail. You have to. And you have to put your players in positions where they're gonna fail.
Yeah, for practices and games, right? Like, I think both are really important. Like, your messages on the Monday practice, after a tough weekend, or your, just what you say to the team kind of like beforehand, or not beforehand, like kind of after a game, or it's not a really good practice, like that messaging really matters. That messaging really matters. And it's not about what just happened. It's about how are we going to get better from it. And I think if you can always kind of reframe things into like, okay, this just happened. How is this going to make us better? This just happened. How is it going to make you better? And really just like, again, just even communicating about resilience is important. Just like, obviously you want to, like, becoming good at anything that you do is hard. It's really, really hard. It's hard in the monotony. It's hard in that you're being challenged both by your coach and by the other players that you're competing against. And just really the communication of why resilience is important and how you can build it. Like, I feel like that is so incredibly important, not just for the kid buying into what you're selling and the kid buying into how you're trying to push them from the relationship that you've built with them before, but also just in life, man. Like, I don't know a successful person that isn't resilient, honestly, at the end of the day. And so just communicating that up front, putting them in positions that are going to be hard, understanding the challenge points of different drills. Like, hey, this drill is going to be tough. It might not look very good. Hey, this drill, we want a lot of reps they're going to, it's going to build confidence. They're going to be a little bit more successful. Great coaches understand the nuances of those kind of things, especially like when you're doing small group stuff. And potentially individual skill stuff. And so, yeah, like, make it hard and then talk about the resilience and how important that is in getting better.
100%. And, for the rest of your life, your young player is going to fail, is going to mess up, is going to break a rule, is going to get in trouble, is going to whatever. Negative things are going to happen. And if we kid glove them all the time and don't shepherd them through without doing for them, or never put them in situations to have hard things happen where then you have to have a hard conversation, which they're going to have with their husband or wife, their children, their boss, their family, their team if they're coaching, their coach if they play a long time. They're going to find themselves in these situations often through life. So the earlier and the more often that we can put them in situations where they're going to have these types of things, and then we coach them through it, not only are you going to make a more successful hockey player, you're going to make a more successful, resilient, and happy human being as a whole for the rest of their life. I can't tell you, growing a business, like just now, me as a retired hockey player, like growing a business and trying to build what I'm building is not easy. It's hard. I mess up a lot. I fail. I do things wrong. But I literally always say to myself, well, how would I have approached today after a failure or a mess up or whatever yesterday if I was playing hockey? How would I wake up today after I took a terrible penalty that was so stupid and I cost my team the game last night? What would I do today in hockey? Would I have sat in bed and sulked all day and, the world's open? No, I would have got up. I would have got to the rink early. I would have done extra. I would have watched film, and I wouldn't have let it happen again. And I know how to do that now in the real world with relationships and business and all these things, literally because I did it thousands of times from 3 years old until I retired at 32. So like these things are super, super important for them as hockey players, and even more important for them as human beings.
100%, man. Resilience is superpower. Resilience is superpower. So I gave a bit of a speech, let's call it virtually, to an advisors group last night. Chad McDonald, what's up? And that was one of the things that I talked about. And Gary Vee talks about this a lot. If you follow Gary Vee, you've probably heard him say this. There is no greater time in the world to be great at what you do. Why is that? Because there's very few people who are resilient. There's very few people who are resilient. And so if you are consistent with what you do, and if you're resilient and take the reins of your own life and take the reins of your own business or development or whatever it may be, there's very few people that are doing that. And so that should motivate you so much as a young athlete to understand that let's just talk about youth hockey right now. There are so many youth hockey players where things don't go their way. Mom and dad are taking them to another organization. Very few times do those kids ever end up panning out, because what's the message that's being sent? It's that when things don't go well, it's not we're going to work through it. It's we're just going to go find another situation.
It's somebody else's fault.
Greener on the other side. It was somebody else's fault. Like, if you're somebody that takes ownership and accountability and everything that we're kind of talking about right now, dude, like, there is no greater time to outcompete and outwork and out-resilient the people that you're competing with for the dreams that you have. There's very few that will do that. Isn't that? And it should be a motivating factor.
It should be exciting
to keep going.
It should be exciting. It should be really exciting, because you have found something that can really propel your career in any field. sports, business, anything. Like literally, again, it talked about Andy Frisella earlier. He says something along the lines all the time, and like he's like 100 millionaire, built multiple companies, speaks for $100,000 a speech or whatever he speaks for every time. Like it's just a savage, and he always says like it's not the most talented person. It's the guy who just won't give up. Just keeps waking up and keeps showing up and keeps giving his best over and over and over and over and over, because if you're doing that, you are building that resiliency muscle and you are learning every single time you fail. If you don't fail, you're not pushing yourself outside that comfort zone. And if you don't do that, you're not going to grow, like Toph said. So it's growth is so predicated upon learning how to fail faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And creating that environment where that's welcome, man.
Yes.
Talking about that resilience all the time as a leader or as a coach. And just to end it off, like I love this saying, like success and failure travel the same road. One's just got an earlier exit. It's like you said, like it's about outlasting, not out competing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't say out competing. It's about outlasting, not out talenting. It isn't necessarily the most talented that always end up making it. Like talent's really important to have, but talent isn't finite. Talent is something that gets better or worse based upon the work that you put in and the amount of intention and integrity you put into the work that you do. So yeah, man, success and failure, they travel the same road. One's just got an earlier exit. Outlast the people that you're competing against.
Couldn't love that more, bro. I just wrote that down.
I've said that before. Maybe not on the podcast.
I would have remembered that, because that's
okay. Last one, number 7. And again, I'm reading these word for word, and we've already talked about this on this podcast, but in my text to Kaner, this is what I said. Bonus, because he asked for 4 to 6 and I gave him 7. Bonus that I love from Vex, word for word. Set the standard high with, and I capitalized all the WITH, with. Set the standard high with the player, and then when you need to hold that player accountable for not hitting that standard, remind them that this is the standard that they created. If they have big dreams, the size of their effort has to match or exceed the size of their dreams. They have to own their development. That is a great way to help them do that.
I love it, baby. I love it, and I love the part you put in there, because I've heard this a lot lately. Maybe it was somebody on our podcast who said it, and I've read it a couple other places via social media, that your effort has to equal the magnitude of your dreams.
That's my saying. The magnitude of your effort has to match the magnitude of your dreams.
It's, man, like I'm using that tomorrow in the gym with the boys, 100%. Like, okay, you're telling me, everyone in this room, because almost everybody says they want to play in the NHL. Now, do you understand how big of a goal that is? Now, are you living that big? Are you living that big? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you getting in your supplements? Are you doing visualization? Are you focused on your breathing? Are you recovering after your workouts and practice? Are you warming up? Are you doing yada, yada, blah, blah, blah? Okay, you're not. So is that really your dream? Is that really your goal? Or is that just a hope? There's a big difference.
Yeah, there's a difference between dreams and goals.
Yeah.
Goals are things that you do on an everyday basis that can help you to achieve your dreams. The dream is the result at the end of the road. The goals are the things that you need to do every day. And so, like, I go back to it, like with you, one of the best things that you can do is set the standard and set the goals with them. And then remind them when they need to be held accountable to getting there, which every single person will need that. It's, hey, this is your dream. And is the magnitude of your effort right now, does that match the dream that you have? If it isn't, then let's change. Let's find a way to get there. And yeah, it's a partnership. Coaching is a partnership. It's not a dictatorship. It's a partnership. And when you can involve them and you can remind them that this is theirs, it's not yours. Like, your job is just to kind of help them and shepherd them and guide them to what they want. Man, that's at the end of the day. And even like I got, a master's in sports studies. Like, that's the biggest thing. If it's internally from them, it's so much more powerful than when it's externally from you at the end of the day. What all the studies show, anecdotally, I know from my experiences, you too, like that's what it is. So yeah, huge, man.
Huge, massive, the number one thing.
All right, guys. So hopefully you can take some of this stuff and you can use it with the teams that you're coaching or the players that you have, even in your relationships in life, and hopefully these 7 things and how to create an environment that is conducive for great player development. Hopefully you can take that and develop some great players out there. So reach out if any of these rang a bell, if any of these resonate, if you have any stories, if there's something we missed or something you want to challenge us on with this stuff. We love that. We love when you reach out. So we appreciate you guys listening this week. Have a great effing week. Let's go get after it. No better time to be great than today, baby. No better time to be great than today.
Share that show if you like this 7 different kinds of smoke. Let's go.
The NBA 82-game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and draw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, maybe even more? It's your call. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.